Hi, movie 2. I didn't just pause, I restarted because I already had 35 minutes on that movie, and I'm going to try to keep them to about 30 minutes total, as I said. So I'm on layer 17 as I'm going to begin that layer, and what I want to do is if I turn on the real face or my copy of the face, I want to start bringing off this nose and the cheek shine. I don't want to get any more detailed. I don't want to do nostrils, and I don't want to do the smaller shapes. I just want to do it to this point. Okay, so I've already gone in and I'm going to turn on the real face. I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to show you that I've already done this nose shape here, this one right there, and I've already done this one right there. Now let me hit the P key and click on it so you can see what I'm talking about. I went around the nose, and first I did this one, and then I turned, first I did this one. I went a little deeper than, which was underneath the nostrils, all right, because that's where the light value goes. Then I duplicated it by dragging it into the new path icon, and I got rid of these points on the bottom, and I turned it into this one, which was around the nostrils. Now, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to use the first one, the big one down here, okay? Now I'm going to grab this tone, I'm going to hit the B key and the eyedropper, and I'm going to grab this tone that's right here, this bright tone that's right here. Not the little light values that are right there, but next to the light values, okay? So I'm going to come back this far, and I'm going to turn off this, turn this back on, because that's what I'm aiming for, and I'm going to click, I'm turning it off at the moment, and we're going to look at this one that I have to the lower side down here. Now I'm going to hit Option Delete, and I'm going to fill it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to deselect, add a layer mask to that, and I'm going to name this above highlights 1. Now I'm going to have 2 more layers above it, which I'm going to clip to it too, or as well, and I'm going to name this one Command V delete number 2, so above highlights 2. I'm going to double click this one and hit Command V delete 3 and hit the return key, and then I'm going to hit Command S to save, and we're going to talk for a minute. So now as I look down here, I want to Gaussian blur it, not exactly to the most of it, but I want to Gaussian blur it to about 4 or 5 pixels, or I'll let Gaussian blur tell me how much to Gaussian blur it to, and get it towards the top. Now don't have any selection active when you Gaussian blur. Do not have the selection active, or even worse, don't hit Command H and have the selection hidden, because it's still active, because Command H hides the selection, but it doesn't deactivate it or deselect it. So let me hit Command D to deselect to make sure, and let's make sure we're clicked on the right layer, which is this layer, which I am. I am going to add a layer mask to it, but I'm going to click back to the image part of it, and I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and we're going to Gaussian blur it to about the right fuzz on the top. I have it at 19 right now, and I'm going to make it just a little bit more, maybe around here. Now watch what I do. I'm actually going to get rid of everything I've done there by painting black and just totally getting rid of it. So I have to click on the layer mask. When you click on the layer mask, the foreground and background colors turn black and white. I'm going to hit the X key to toggle them, and now I'm just going to get rid of it. So look, it's all gone, 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 gone. Because this is as easy as doing this. Watch how simple. I'm going to click back on that part of it, make my brush smaller, and I'm going to bring it back from where I had left it by painting white. So I hit the X key. Now I'm just going to click. I'm just going to click, 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 click a few times, and then paint a few times right in here, just like that, real gentle. Then I'm going to make the brush smaller. Remember, I'm on all the way soft, okay? And I'm only painting at 8% on the flow, and now I can turn this off, and I can use the little reference down here, and look at how pretty that is. All right, I can even hit the X key and take a little bit away. I actually put too much in there. So now I'm going to take a little bit away. Now I'm going to hit the X key, and which I'm painting white back on, and I want to bring off the top edge a little bit more. So here's the top edge. See it? I'm coming across the top edge, and I'm coming down this edge. Now look at how nice that looks when I click this back and forth. I'm actually laying in the foundation for that nose. Now as I see this part of the nose, I need to get brighter right here. So I'm just going to click white, and I'm going to bring that back on here. Okay? Just a little bit back. Now I don't want to get definitive with the nose. I don't want to get the nostrils going on yet. all right, because I have some pink stuff to do. It would be easy if I went to the, gosh, I don't want to go too far, but it would be easy if I command clicked the actual nostril part, if I added a feather already to that edge. How much of a feather? Well, if I look at the real nose and I hit Command H and I zoom into that nose, that's about a 3 pixel feather on the edge. So if I go to Select, Modify Feather, and go 3 pixels, then I'm good. Now I'm going to hit Command H so I don't have to see the selection, but painting on the layer mask, but using this to paint on, watch how I'm bringing off this nostril just a little bit, and I'm bringing off this nostril just a little bit. Now look what happens when I click away. I need to turn that off. For some reason that didn't go away. Okay, so now it did go away. It wasn't going away a second ago. So now I need to bring off that nostril a little bit more. Let's back off on this, and then I'm going to lay in the foundation for the pink. But I've got this started really nice. Look at how I've actually got that started to show where her nose detail is. So there's the nose detail, which, you know, I'm going to get there. Don't look at the little shapes. Please don't look at any of these little shapes yet. Look at the overall feeling that I'm having. Now, I have to get the pink inside of there, so I'm going to use different things like an above layer number 1, number 2, and I'm going to start laying in the pink, okay, to influence the color that I already have there. So all I have to do is turn this back on, grab this pink value, and now if I click like this, I can actually turn this off. Look at the base layer down here, and I can start bringing in that beautiful pink to that area. All right, now I really don't want to get this dark or put pink on that side too much. All right, so what I want to do is to make a selection of that nose again. All right, feather it, which is Shift F5 to 3 pixels. Whoops, wrong thing. It's actually Shift F6. And I'm going to bring that window over here. It just went onto my other window, and I'm going to feather it 3 pixels. Now I'm going to hit Command H. Now if I grab this nice pink right there and I make it even just a little bit pinker, I'm putting the color picker over here. If I make it just a little bit pinker, I can actually make my brush bigger, and I can actually lay in the pink in the side of that nose there, and then I can put the pink in the side of that nose there. So you can see how I can start to influence my layers here. Let me Command Z that back because I didn't want to get on the bottom of that yet. So let me Command Z back a little bit more right there. Now let's do the cheek and see how I do on the cheek. Okay, so I'm saving the file, and I'm going to go to the above highlight number 3, which is going to be the cheek. But let's draw out the cheek together. Okay, so I'll come over here, and I really should maybe start to use this one to draw out a little bit of the shapes that actually work. So let me come in here, and I'm going to draw with a pen on this, but remember I have the ability to have a layer mask. So look at how it's doesn't have to be 1000% accurate, but I am going to come across here. I am going to come up the lip, which I can refine later. Now I'm going to come around back here and come around this shadow area. And now let me get close, and I can now hold the Option key or Alt key and join that in. Now that's a pretty good path, okay? Remember, we're getting to the smaller shapes. So let me hit the, go into here. Let's call this the cheek path. One. Excuse me. And now I'm going to make a selection of it. Now I'm not going to worry about the feather, but I am going to go B key, hold the Option key, and grab the middle value of what I think it is. Not the lightest value here and not the whitest value here, but the middle value, okay? Or the next to the middleest, not the white, but the next one down is what I'm trying to say. Am I on the right layer? Yes. I'm going to hit Option, Delete, and Fill. Let's hit Command D and deselect. Now that looks terrible, but it doesn't. It's exactly what it wants to be. So let's go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And let's Gaussian blur it for this part of it right there. So let's go a little bit higher than 26. I'm actually going to cancel that, and I'm going to show I actually want to show another copy of the face right up here, and I'm going to show you what I'm looking at. So I'm going to click to this face right here, because I like to have all the reference around me that I need. So I'm going to grab this part of the face. I'm going to hit Command J. Now I'm going to hit the V key and I'm going to move this over. I'm going to hit Command T and I'm going to make this really small and put this over here. Now that's far enough over, but I don't want this part right there, so I'm going to hit the return key, add a layer mask to that, and with black in my airbrush, so let me hit the B key, and on the layer mask part of this, I'm going to hit the X key and I'm going to paint this out. So I just want only to see that part of the face. So I realize I could change it from 8 on the flow and do this much faster, but who cares? So let me just get rid of this, and now I have the face that I need here. Now I can turn this off. See? Now, let me zoom in, and now let's Gaussian blur it. Let me move the swatches palette over. I'm going to put this down here and make it smaller, but not get rid of it. So now, click back to my image. Now, if I don't know where this part of the cheek is, I'm going to hit the V key, deselect, make sure I'm totally deselected, and right-hand click, and it'll go to the above highlight 3. So that takes me right to that layer. Again, I can right-hand click, and it takes me right to that layer. So let's go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and let's now do a Gaussian blur that's going to help me here. Now I'm going to do it, I'm going to make this more fuzzy than what is there. So I'm going to go halfway between the two of these, and this is what I call Gaussian blur to the most of it, layer mask to the least of it. So let me find a place for this Gaussian blur that doesn't get in the way of anything. So let's come in here now and let's do a little bit more. I'm really looking for this area right up here and around this part of the cheek right there. So that's what I'm trying to get into. So I'm getting it a little bit more. That's just about exactly right. Now let's add a layer mask to that. And now we are going to paint on the outside of the layer mask. Now this should be tighter. It should be less Gaussian blur, especially where I'm pointing here should be less Gaussian blur. So I need to remove the Gaussian blur from there. So I go back to the cheek and I make a selection of the cheek. Nothing is 0 pixels on the feather. This is at least 2 pixels on the feather here, and this is at least 6 pixels on the feather here. So let's start that process, okay? So I'm going to inverse it. I'm going to hit Shift Command I, and now I'm painting on the outside. I go Shift F6, and I'm going to add a 5 or 6 pixel feather, and I'm going to hit Command H. Now please pay attention. I am going to paint black out here, outside of this. Let me get close so you can see it with both, and I'm actually going to tighten that up a little bit right there. Now, I actually want to come over here and tighten this up, but it's at 5 pixels on the Gaussian blur, on the feather. So I actually want to come back to the cheek, re-inverse it, re-hit Shift F6, and put about 3 pixels on the feather. Now I'm going to hit Command H, which is very, very important. Now watch this. I'm going to take the brush, and I'm going to paint right there where I'm painting right now, and I'm going to flip this on and off, which is the real picture of what she is right there. And do you see how I'm actually now restoring the hardness of that edge by taking away, whoops, wrong one, I'm taking away the Gaussian blur. Now do you see how I'm getting a myriad of Gaussian blurs in there? Now again, I'm not concerned with the pink. The pink I can put back in. Okay, so I'm gonna just get the areas right in there. So let's deselect it, and now I want to remove a little bit more of this over here. So let's come in like this, and now with the black in the brush, look at how I'm softening this edge right here by the mouth. And now look at how I've got the cheek to start to work here. And look at, if I turn this on, you can see how I've got that working just beautifully. Now, underneath all of this and this, I should start getting more intense with the pink. So there is pink underneath there. So I'm going to make a new layer above layer 16. I'm even going to name it red. I'll actually call it pink color in cheeks. Now let's make a selection of the face so I don't go outside the face just for the heck of it. And I'm going to grab this beautiful rosy color right here. And let's see that rosy color. Let's click really close and get that rosy color in my paintbrush. Now, I think that's about the right color. Okay, so let's now, I have to zoom back out, and let's go on the face. And let's now make sure we're painting on number 18. And let me make my brush slightly bigger at 8% on the flow. And let's turn on this image. Now, what I need to do is to put pink over here. So I'm going to put pink right in her cheek. So let's turn this off, which is the clicky copy. And you see how I've actually put the pink in there? Now, because I have it on a layer all by itself, which is important to tell you, I can reduce the opacity of that pink. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit more. Now, I want to put a little bit more pink over here on this cheek. Let's come in like this and let's get the color to be real pretty. And I want to put pink where that nose is. So let's come in here. Let me click this. Let's click right here. And let's go turn off the face and turn on the face. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to paint the pink all the way through here. And let's see what I've done. Okay, that's got that nice pink color underneath. And this needs to go pinkier, if that's a good way to say it. So I'm going to actually click this color, which is next to the freckle, and let's turn this off. Now I can look over here and see how much I want to influence that. Now, where does it go? Well, I'd be freehanding if I did it here, but if I do it with this on, I know exactly where it goes. See how it goes there? Now I'm going to click this off, and you're going to see how I've actually added and starting to add all the pink influences on the cheek. I of course have to get darker here, which I will. All right, now let's actually come down the side of the nose here, and let's get a little bit more pink going on here. Not too much. I don't want too much in here. I just want a really good pink influence there. So I'm approaching it nice and light. Let's put another pink influence here. And now I'm going to turn on my layers that are here, and then I can remove some of this opacity from this layer, which is this one right there. So I'll take it, and I can either remove the opacity from it, which will show the pink underneath it, and you can see how I've got that now to start to marry, and the pink is coming through that really, really nice. Now, that's actually looking really good. Now I can actually pick up and do more shadowing from this side over that way. So I think I put a little bit too much pink where I'm pointing here, so I want to find the layer where that pink is. So I hit the V key, I deselect, I right hand click, and it's on pink on the color cheeks. So I want to remove some of that pink right here. So I add a layer mask. Now if I want to do it accurately, that shadow's pretty good. So I'm actually going to go to the nose, click on the nose, and command click the nose. I'm going to inverse the nose, so I'm painting on the outside of the nose. Now, this is not a 1 pixeled feather, it's about a 3 pixeled feather over here. So let me come over here now and hit Shift F6, 3 pixels on the feather, hit Command H, and then what do I paint on the layer mask? I actually paint in, let me hit the B key, and I paint black on the layer mask to get rid of the pink on that side, and now I've got that working real well here on that side. Now look at how subtle that is. Look at how pretty that is. Now I'm going to turn on the clicky copy very fast, on and off, so you can see what I've got is a good foundation for the value. It doesn't mean I can't get slightly brighter right there. What do I do that on? I do it on another layer. Okay, so if I want to get brighter, there's no need to worry about those layers. I'll just click a new layer. I'll name it the highlight again, so I'll name it upper highlights. Hope you see how I approach things. How I approach them is slowly. The more layers, well, nothing can hurt that. So let's click to that value, probably just a little bit too bright, but you know what? At 8% on the flow, it's going to be all right. So now I turn this off. I want a little bit brighter value right here. Okay, so let's make a selection of that cheek path. Let's already add a feather to it. So let's go to about 5 pixels on the feather. Let's hit Command H so we don't have to see it. Now, I'm just going to run the brush right here, and I'm just going to click. Now, I've very nicely added that value. I probably did too much here, but who cares, because that's again what a layer mask is for. Now let's get slightly brighter on the nose where it needs to be. So I'm going to deselect the cheek, and I don't need any path for the nose. All I need to do is pick up the nose, come right here and click 1, 2, 3, and now if I click away, you can see how I got slightly brighter on the nose right there. And those are gorgeous skin tones, absolutely beautiful skin tones. I'm 21 minutes into this movie, and I want to do a couple more things to actually start now laying in the foundation. I'm going to go now do the darkness around the eye area, and I'm going to get a little bit more definitive on this dark that I'm pointing here and here. First, I really want to make sure I have the right dark in that area right there. Now I'm going to go back down on here and make sure that that dark that I had is high enough. So here is the dark that I had on the side of that nose, and I just brought it up to the top of the file, which really helped. Okay, I really like what I did, and remember, that was the first darkness I painted. Now it's invading the nostril too much, if you know what I mean. It's invading this side. Let me click it on and off. It shouldn't be going over here. So I'm going to click it on, and then I'm going to take it away from right here. So if I make a selection of the nose again, and I add the feather on the nose to about 3 pixels, I'm going to hit Command H. Now I want to click on the layer mask, paint black on the layer mask, and remove it from where I just did. Now look at how that made that stand out. Just incredible. Just really pretty. You can feel those face tones. Look at how the pink in the cheeks to where the skin gets a blue tone right around here. Look at on the side of the nose how the blue tone is coming in. Now I'm really starting to lay in the base foundation for that face. So the next thing that I want to do is start getting more definitive, as I said. So I'm going to think of what I want to do. I want to finish off this cheek on the right hand side. So let's put a big shape in there, which is going to be the next shape I put in. So let's call this, that is her right hand cheek. So let's go right cheek dark. Let's save the file. And let's draw it. Now let me clip it to the face again. All of these shapes are clipped to the overall face. So there's no need to worry about making a selection of the overall face. This clips it. So let's go down here and click on it. And now let me bring off the real picture on her, and let's draw out this dark. Now it doesn't really matter how much I want to delete that pen path. So I want to get close. And I'm not worried about this darkness. I want to get the darkness for that side of the cheek. Now because of Gaussian Blur is going to help me. So let me come around like this. I'm going to Z that back. I want to come around like this. I want to Z it out here. I might as well come a little lower here. Let me move this down. Can I do it in one thing? Let me see if I can. Let me start to get this little bit of darkness, which comes up like that, around the bottom of the mouth. That needs to move up a little bit. And if I don't, and it doesn't look good, I'll do it on another higher, smaller layer. Hope that made sense to you. Now, let's come around here. I actually see a little bit of darkness as it works its way around here. And if I need this to help me with that side, I will. Now remember I said all of these elements are clipped to the face, so it doesn't matter how far I come out here at all, because we won't see any of that tone. So I've now laid in a path that's going to help me with subtle darknesses around that. I need to double click it. Since I named the layer right cheek dark, I'm going to, I got to bring this path over here so you can see. I'm going to cancel it. I'm going to double click this and hit Command C. I'm now going to double click the work path and hit Command V, and now I have the path name the same thing that the layer is. So let me hit Command S to save. Now, let's make a selection out of it. I'm going to put it in there and blast it in there, which is what you should do. So take the darkest dark that you can find, click it. It's going to look really bad at first. Who cares? Let's go Option Delete. Now, our job is to turn that into something good. Now, I may be getting rid of almost all of it, okay? And that color is what Photoshop told me it should be. Now, if I only keep a little bit on this side, then fine. But now let's make sure I deselect it. Let's go up to Gaussian Blur and Gaussian Blur it. And because I have it on a layer all by itself, if I don't like it, I'll do something else. So it's at 53 right now. Let's go up higher. Let's go up higher. I kind of like what's going on there. And let's click OK. Now, let's see if I even want to keep any of that on the bottom, because I don't like the brown tint, but the brown tint works for her right-hand side. So what I should do, because I can still use, I'm going to make the brush bigger, I need to add a what to that layer? A layer mask. Now, let's remove it all from here because I can put it back on. So let's just keep on removing it. Painting black, let me deselect. And now what's wrong with this is something. I am painting. Oh, no. Let me save the file because I have to figure out why I am not painting. Oh, you know what? I'm in a dodge tool. Somehow I didn't hit the, I hit the D key, I didn't hit the B key. So I have to hit the B key. That was very funny. I'm funny, I'm a funny man. So let me now paint on the layer mask. So I was in the dodge tool. Actually, let me Z that back because I don't want to take it all away. Look at how that totally works for that side of the cheek. Let me show you that there is tone there. See it? See it? And it's perfect. So I actually like what I did over there. Now let's take it away mostly here on the bottom. Well, that really rounds the face off on that side. So let's now get rid of a little bit of it here. And now if I turn the real clicky copy on and off, we need to back off on it over here. So let's just take it and just gently back off. Remember, you're working on a layer mask. You can hit the X key and put it back in, right? Now, look at how quickly, if I may add, look at how quickly something that looked so in your face, get it? Actually turns out beautiful when I have it like this. Look at how gorgeous that looks. Now, the real tone here is I've got it much darker. And you know, there is a creative license in my pocket, okay? So I could actually add more, but I'll take some away because I can always come back, right, and I can always add it back in. Now let me get closer to the edge of the cheek here, and let's put a little reflection coming down on the edge of the cheek. Now, look at how pretty the face is turning out. So when I turn this off and on, I should be seeing the kinds of things that I want to see. Now right on this side of the nose, don't look at the freckles, so I should be having you actually look at this. I want, because the freckles are the brown, okay? I actually want that shape a little bit better, and maybe I already have it good. So let me turn, whoops, let me turn this off so I can see my color. I need a little bit more value, all right? So I better take the P key, and I'm going to draw it down this side of the nose, come in like this, come around like this, let me come around like this, come back up. I probably should start to draw it around the eye as well, so maybe I'll actually use this one in conjunction with that one. So, meaning I'm going to look at that path. Now instead of coming up too high, I'm actually going to come around where she has this little dark around the bottom of her eye. And I don't really want to make her eye that dark on the bottom. I don't think that's cool. And but it is real. Let me put it that way. It is real. So I'm going to draw this path out, and let's come around here to this part of the eye. Let's come around here so I can start to definitively lay in the foundation. Look what I'm doing. I'm laying in the foundation for that value. This should actually, whoops, let me Z that back. I'm going to put this back down, and now I'm going to curve this one right into that one. Now that works. Now I'm going to add another one to this one. So let's come around here. Let's come around here. Let's come around this part of the eye. Remember, make it bigger than you need, because a layer mask can eliminate any of the stuff that you don't want. So I'm going to come over like this underneath her tear duct, and I'm now got the path, and let's call this eye darks 1. So I have eye darks 1. Let me hit Command C and reverse the fashion. Let's make a new layer, clip it, although it probably doesn't need to be clipped, and double click it and hit Command V and now save the file. So I hope that you see I'm on 30 minutes already on this movie, so I'm probably going to start to lay in the values for that eye on the next movie. So I hope you like what I've done. I hope it's giving you a good definitive feel on this. Let me just get I want to click away from that path, and I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with the fact that we are starting to build our darks, our lights, our little values, and our minus detail tones for the whole face. I think that looks good so far, and let's hit one more Command S to save, and when that's done saving, I'm going to stop the movie and go to movie 3.